So now we're getting a glimpse, ladies and gentlemen, of exactly what things might start to look like under Democrat leadership if they were to regain a majority in Congress or the executive branch for that matter. As new mayors and governors settle in, you got Zoran Mamdani in New York City, the new mayor in Seattle, the new governor in Virginia, and they're immediately passing laws that either defy or actively obstruct the federal government, while at the same time making life more expensive for residents, we're seeing. And so this is no longer theoretical anymore. We're watching this happen in real time. As always, smash that thumbs up button. That's how I know you like the content. Subscribe to the channel for more and share this video. That way more people see what's really going on.
And this executive order rescinds executive order number 47. State and local law enforcement should not be required to divert their limited resources to enforce federal civil immigration laws.
That's the new governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Abigail Spanberger ran for that office as a moderate. But the executive order that she talked about is state and local police not cooperating with ICE to get criminal illegal immigrants. There's also a list of, now the Democrats control the legislature, that a number of bills that have been put forward. You can't read it here, but let me just go through it. Sales tax on Uber Eats, Amazon. Sales tax on admissions to a variety of businesses. Create 2 new higher tax brackets. 10% tax bracket for anyone making over $1 million. 3.8 investment tax. Raise the hotel tax. New personal property tax on landscaping equipment. Ban gas-powered leaf blowers. Guarantee illegal aliens free education. Make it illegal to approach somebody at an abortion clinic. Extend the time absentee ballots can be received after Election Day. Allow people to cast their votes electronically through the internet. Expand ranked choice voting. Extend the deadline for ballot curing. Redact the addresses of political candidates from FOIAs. Add Virginia to the National Popular Vote Compact. Make it illegal to hand count ballots. $500 sales tax on firearm suppressors. Assault weapons and large capacity magazine ban. 11% sales tax on all firearms and ammunition. Prohibit outdoor shooting of a firearm less than 5 acres. Lower the criminal penalties for robbery. Ban the arrest of illegal aliens in courthouses. Remove mandatory minimum sentences. Allow localities to install speed cameras. And replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day. Wow. So elections have consequences, Josh.
What a spectacular reminder that we no longer live in an era where there's an existence of a moderate Democrat. I think for the last 6 months, for those of us who pointed out that the Mamdanis of the world had taken over the Democratic Party, we were assured, no, that's not the new face of the Democratic Party. It's people like moderates Abigail Spanberger. I mean, she's there for a cup of coffee, and all of a sudden we have a communist manifesto out in front of us. This is going fast and furious, but it is how Democrats govern. Regardless of what they say, even in a state, a purple state like Virginia, Youngkin didn't govern as a right-wing lunatic. She's trying to take it so far left, it's almost unrecognizable.
Yeah, wow. And so now a lot of people in Virginia are feeling betrayed because Abigail Spanberger ran as a moderate Democrat. But almost immediately after being sworn in, she began leaning into very progressive policies that suggest otherwise, right? And this is exactly why Donald Trump has been saying Republicans must win the midterms, because if Democrats regain the majority, this is exactly the kind of shift we're likely to see on the national level. And it's not just happening in Virginia. No, you see this same governing pattern in other blue cities, blue states, including places like Maryland, ladies and gentlemen, where Baltimore ICE had already broken records for arresting criminal illegal sex offenders. Many of these arrests happened only because suspects were already in local custody for other violations. An issue they're having out there in Minnesota right now, where Tom Homan has been stressing, just let us into the prisons, work with us, so that way we don't have to have 3,000 ICE officers in the communities, on the street, trying to apprehend these people. Well, that's what they were doing in Maryland until, guess what? Now, Maryland Democrats want to allow these individuals to be released back into the neighborhoods instead of being turned over to federal authorities. And so the question is, how does releasing sex offenders make the citizens safer? Let's take a listen.
Now, new polling is shedding light on if the average Marylander even wants the program to live on. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost joins us live from the State House in Annapolis to break down some of these numbers in this poll. Mackenzie.
Mary, right now there are 8 jurisdictions in the state of Maryland that have the 287G program in place, but that could soon change if Maryland Democrats get their wish, despite this new polling indicating more than 50% of Marylanders want to keep this partnership in place.
The immigration debate continues to heat up, and now supporters of keeping the 287G program in Maryland have some data to point to. A Gonzales poll just out Tuesday shows 54% of Marylanders support giving local jails the legal authority to run background checks on all detainees in cooperation with ICE.
Well, I'm hoping to bring some common sense to the situation and actually start doing the work of what the Maryland people want instead of their radical base.
Delegate Matt Morgan, a Republican and chair of the Freedom Caucus, says it does not make sense to ban a program more than half of Marylanders support.
It means, once again, the Democratic Party is really turning in legislation that cater to a small percentage of their base instead of doing what's right by the overwhelming majority of Maryland people.
And Morgan isn't alone. Sheriffs from around the state gathered with Republicans Tuesday in Annapolis to push back on the effort from Democrats in the State House to ban 287G.
Instead of this transfer taking place in the prison, in the jails, it's now going to be taken somewhere on the street where ICE is having to come in and look for them.
And so basically, now you're seeing Democrats in Maryland push to try and turn their state into Minnesota, ladies and gentlemen. Even though the polling you just heard shows that that's not even what a majority of Maryland residents want, which makes this even more frustrating because this is exactly what Tom Homan has been talking about. States working with the federal government to keep citizens safer versus Democrats choosing to disregard public safety, all for their party's political ideology. We can already see how chaotic Minnesota looks, right? If you already have a system in place that's working, why would you change it, let alone replace it with something that's more dangerous, not just for the federal agents, but for everyday citizens? That move tells you all you need to know as far as the Democrats' priorities. And yet, somehow, people keep voting for these very politicians who make life less safe for the communities they're supposed to represent.
I think we'll see more immigration enforcement because Tom Homan, the border czar, has made it quite clear he prefers the models where they can safely remove criminals like we have the ability to do here in Maryland. And why take that away from the jurisdictions that think is the best course of avenue for their citizens?
Do you think that lawmakers are listening to what Marylanders want based on this poll?
Unfortunately, no. I think this is Maryland where our legislature looks out more for the rights of criminals rather than the law-abiding citizens.
Senate President Bill Ferguson argues the state should not be working with ICE at all, even as the polls suggest Marylanders like the idea.
I would say I haven't seen the specific poll, so I can't speak to the exact methodology or how the question was asked.
Ferguson says he understands the need for immigration enforcement with a path to citizenship, but does not agree with keeping 287G in place, despite some jurisdictions working with ICE in this capacity for years.
So let's clear this up. How do you claim to believe in immigration enforcement while refusing to work with federal law enforcement? And the state doesn't want to enforce immigration law. Democrats in Maryland should just come out and say what they really mean, which is they support a path to citizenship no matter what. Because that's exactly what their actions are showing. If a state refuses to enforce immigration law or cooperate with federal authorities, how do you plan to actually enforce it at all? You don't. And that's the point. Everything else is just political spin, designed to play both sides, tough rhetoric for voters, but soft on execution when it matters.
This is a radically different approach to immigration enforcement, and I think that is the statement of why the 287G program has to be eliminated in Maryland.
Based on the numbers, though, it appears as if the majority of Marylanders think that this is something that should stay in place.
I mean, at this point, I am fully committed to passing this initiative.
And the new speaker, Jocelyn Pena-Melnick, agrees with Ferguson.
By and large, we aren't seeing the same type of activity play out in Maryland that we're seeing in other states like Minnesota. So do you believe by taking some of these actions in Maryland, it's more about taking a stand nationally than it is really about addressing concerns in the state?
No, it's about addressing concerns in the state. The people that I represent and my colleagues, we get the calls.
While she says the most important issues to Marylanders will be tackled this year, there are questions about priorities.
In this session, we're going to worry and do something about those bread and butter issues, because that is what I'm hearing from my constituents, okay?
Does immigration fall into bread and butter? Because for a lot of people, they would say no.
I would say that immigration, it falls into whether you die or you live today, okay? Which is as important, because people are losing their lives because of it.
In Maryland?
They're losing their lives in the U.S., and just because it hasn't happened here doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, because it's still ICE.
While public opinion appears to be in line with Republicans, sheriffs, and other supporters of keeping the 287G program.
Sadly, if it passes, we'll see whether the president's sentence is correct or incorrect, and that we see more enforcement and we see more people being deported.
Maryland lawmakers are poised to move ahead with their push to ban it anyway.
Now, this bill to ban the 287G program, along with another proposal to prohibit face coverings for regular law enforcement activities, will both be heard during a Senate committee on Thursday. It's expected that hundreds of people will sign up to testify on either side of these issues. So really, the immigration policy debate in Maryland is just getting started.
And so what Democrats are effectively telling their voters is this: we don't care that you want the current system to stay in place. We're pushing this through anyway, because it's a part of our party ideology. And to justify it, they'll roll out the same playbook every time. Paint federal enforcement as the boogeyman, claim it's going to harm everyone, tear families apart, is life or death, and create chaos in the meantime. It's the same rhetoric, designed to scare people who listen but don't stop to question what actually is being done. And so now basically you're hearing Maryland wants to follow the same route as Minnesota. Give me a break. But those are my thoughts. Now let me hear from you. Drop your comments down below. As always, smash that thumbs up button. That's how you let me know you like the video. Subscribe to the channel for more and share this video. That way more people see what's really going on. Until next time.